Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to the WSSD Fix-It series. In this episode, we're going to learn how to replace a cord on a lamp.
Ready to tackle your own repairs? WSSD's Fix-It series will show you how.
There's a few things that we need to make sure we do safely so we don't get zapped. So, simple first step, unplug the cord. Next step, take the bulb out. This lamp has a cover on the bottom, so I'm going to open that up as best I can. Ideally, when we put this back together, we might have to replace this piece of fabric so that our furniture does not get scratched. But we can see the cord comes through a hole here and goes up the center of the lamp. And so the next phase of this is we need to take this housing off that holds the bulb. And it's in here with friction fit joints, and usually a thin flat-bladed screwdriver is the first step to getting that loosened up. And we just slide that down in between and loosen this up slightly. If you bend it out too much, it'll get really sloppy later on, so we don't want that to happen. Takes a little bit of muscle. We can pop that and disconnect everything. And so with this lamp, this collar will come off, and we can see there are two wires connected to the switch housing, and we're going to take a screwdriver and unscrew those. So we're unscrewing the bulb from the switch. Now we're going to replace this wire, so we're going to untie the knot and pull the wire through the lamp and take our replacement wire, which is just a straight wire. We're going to go through this hole, and this wire is a little bit bigger than the old one, but I'm going to pull through this first hole enough so that I can fish this wire up through the center of the lamp. And we're not going to worry about excess down here at the moment. We're going to pull some excess out here, and we have our fresh wire coming through. Now there's two pieces that are super important to pay attention to. One is the coloration on these screws on the switch. One is sort of a brass color or darker, and one is lighter, sort of a silver color. Those are important because we want to polarize the cord that's going into those wires. So the terminal that has the brass coloration gets the side of the wire that's smooth. And so one side of this wire has a smooth surface. The other side of the wire has a ridged surface. So when we replace this, the smooth side is going to go to this brass or darker colored screw. Step one of stripping this, we have a couple of options. Usually for me it starts with a knife. And I want to split these wires apart from each other. So in this case, I'm going to use a cutting board or a surface that I can cut on and just get this started. So the wire is split, and I'm going to pull this apart about, I'll call it 6 inches. And then I'm going to tie a knot in this so that the wire doesn't pull out of the lamp if somebody trips on the wire. Because we don't want all the force to land on these screws, we want the force to land on a knot right here. And there's a knot called a underwriter's laboratory knot. First we're going to make mouse ears. And the running end of this front one's going to go through the mouse ear there, and this one's going to go through the back side of that mouse ear there, and we are going to pull this tight. And that's a knot that doesn't weaken the wire, and it keeps the wire in place. So the next step is to get these chunks of rope measured about right, because we need the knot somewhere close to the bottom of the switch, and we need these wires to be able to reach the screws. So we've got more wire than I need, so I'm going to cut off a portion of these wires. And so I've got a wire cutters and a wire strippers. These are really handy for stripping the wire because there's different gauge slots in each one of these notches. And so for the wire that I'm working with, I can just put this on the wire and pull, and it rips the insulation off the wire. And what I'm going to do with that now is I'm going to twist all those fine strands of wire together in a clockwise fashion. Now if I don't happen to have a nice wire strippers, what I can do is use a knife. And I would use this very gently on a cutting surface, and I'm going to cut into the insulation just a little bit with my knife. The key is not to cut too far, because you don't want to cut any of those strands that are inside the insulation. And so now I'm going to pull the insulation off, and I can see as I'm pulling if there's strands that are coming off with the insulation. I probably should redo the whole process. Okay, and so on each one of these I'm going to do a hook. Make a hook in the wire. And that's so that when I screw these onto the switch, they will get caught underneath the screw. Now I need to remember, okay, this one has the ridges, this one is smooth. So I'm going to put the smooth one onto the brass colored screw first. I'm going to hook that into there. And if it's not hooking in there, I might need to take my fingers or my screwdriver to shove it underneath the screw. And notice how the hook went the clockwise direction, because when I screw this in, I'm going to screw clockwise, and as this tightens, it's going to suck all of that wire together into the switch. And then I'm going to go over to this other one here. Do the exact same thing. Use my screwdriver to push the wire next to the screw. Now there's only a couple steps left. We're putting the cover back on. We pull the wire down in. And now we're going to click this shroud or the cover into the lamp. Sometimes you hear it click tightly. This one didn't make much sound at all. But now we can pull this snug here in the base. And I would make a new felt fabric for the bottom. But we could plug this in and see how it works. And that's how you fix a lamp. Thanks for watching. Check out our other videos for more fixes you can try at home.
If you can't fix it yourself, join us at the next Fix It Clinic. Learn more and sign up online.